What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We're going to talk about my defensive roster tonight. There's been a lot of questions about who I'm using on offense and defense. A lot of requests to have me go over my teams for both modes of war. And today we're going to talk about my defensive roster, who I'm using, why I'm using them, my lineup, my ISO, everything. And just kind of go in detail about it. Now, we may do a ranking of defensive and offensive teams in the future, but I think that one's going to be quite a bit of a ways off. We've got new patch dropping here in a couple days. We're likely going to get Eternals here soon, and I'm very excited to see what we can manage with Eternals. Hopefully we get them on the playtest server. Fingers crossed. But if you guys do find this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We're rolling close to 5,500 subscribers now. Keep that train rolling. Thank you guys so much for all the subscriptions of late. October was a very, very good month for the channel. Let's keep that going. And without further ado, let's talk about the first team here, Pym Tech. Now, I'm gonna change this. I don't know why. At some point in the past, I put Skirmisher on Yellow Jacket. I'm not sure why. And now I've swapped it back to Striker, and that's exactly what I want. So this is my Pym Tech team. I'm really not worried about most of them. In fact, I did a bad thing by taking most of them up to tier 13. I don't know why I did that. Really, all you need is like tier 12 and then tier 15 on Ghost, and you'll be able to use them to unlock Jubilee. And that was the main thing. I geared them up because you need them for Jubilee, and Jubilee's very good. You need Jubilee to get Adam Warlock and Infinity Watch. Well, they're kind of getting pushed out now by the power creep out of the arena meta, but, you know, Jubilee was a very important legendary character, so you had to gear up Pym Tech. I geared up Pym Tech, and I have to find a use for them somewhere. I just throw them on defense. They're like my first team because they're not good on defense. You don't really use them on offense either, but you just got to put them somewhere. And this is my lineup. These are my ISO. Ant-Man and Stature. Totally forgot her name for a second there. Stature and Ant-Man. Got them over here on the side because they're going to be your two tanks. Whenever Stature drops low on health, Ant-Man automatically taunts. I got Ghost on the far side because that's exactly where I need her. I need her far away from these two because Ghost is by far the most annoying character. So you want to focus on Ghost, but you want to make sure that she's far away so that you're not doing splash damage on her while dealing with these two tanks. I've got Raider on Wasp. I'm totally forgetting. This is how little I care about Pym Tech. I'm like having to remember their names and everything. It's really bad. I've got Raider on Wasp because she's attacking multiple times, attacking the entire team, multiple hits with her. So guaranteed high chance of crit chance means high good plenty of stacks of vulnerable on them. I think maybe I did put Skirmisher on Yellow Jacket so he wasn't stealing stacks of vulnerable that Ghost was using, because Ghost bonus attacks are very, very good because they do reduce speed bar and they do apply slow. So her ISO attacks are very important like that, but Striker on Ghost is very important because of her ultimate with dealing damage. It's unavoidable. She's going to do a lot of damage. Striker on Yellow Jacket or Skirmisher. Striker on his ult will help him do more damage if he does kill someone with that ult. He repeats it again. And then I've just got Fortifier on Stature just because she tanks. So, I honestly, yeah, like, I don't even think I have ISO very high on most of them, except for, I got level 4 ISO on some of them. I don't know why I did this. This is a terrible idea of how to build up Pym Tech. Like, don't put high ISO on these two characters. That was a terrible idea. You can't see, I've got level 3 on Ant-Man. I've got level 3 on Wasp. My head's like sticking off to the side here, but yeah, I built up Pym Tech way too much. That's a mistake of something to not do. But let's move on to our next team here. And a Brotherhood and Marauders mix-up here. Now, you're probably wondering what the heck is going on here. I have Emma on another defense team. We'll get to that here in a minute, but I'm mixing this up. So I need at least one tank on the team, Juggernaut. I've got 6 red on Juggernaut, so I've got him here automatically. Strife, I've got 6 red on him too. So I've got him here. Now, I also have Mystique with Magneto and with Mr. Sinister. Now, this team does not do a lot of damage, but they're very good with healing. A lot of healing with Mr. Sinister. He can heal up. He's got quite a bit there. Plenty of healer ISO going around between Strife and Mr. Sinister. And Juggernaut, I've got Fortifier on him just because he's a beefy tank. He gets that defense up, immunity and everything. gets a lot of bonus resistance, and he takes a long time to die. And every time you hit him, he gains bonus speed bar because Magneto's here. And then Mystique, she has great synergy with both Magneto and Mr. Sinister. If you go and look at this, I've got to find it. It may not be here. I think I actually have to go and look at... I have to look at Magneto and Mr. Sinister, I believe. Yeah, so for starters, her Mimic Strike will copy 3 positive effects from the primary target if Magneto is there. And if Mr. Sinister is if both these characters are allies, her attack becomes unavoidable with the Infiltrate. And then she also flips 1 positive effect to a negative effect on each target. I don't have the T4 on this. That would be more effective if I did. I believe it flips 2 or 3 with a T4 here. So I like Mystique because she has great synergy with both Magneto and Mr. Sinister. And Magneto, he's going to gain plenty of speed bar here because I have 2 Brotherhood allies here. Strife is going to gain plenty of speed bar because I have a full team of mutant villain allies, except for Juggernaut. He's Mystic, but 3 other mutant villain allies for him to gain speed bar, so he's going to taunt pretty early on. Mystique's going to copy effects, clear them, apply those effects to other characters. Mr. Sinister can clone. I believe, if I look at this right, yeah, see, this too, like, Mystique has very good synergy with both Mr. Sinister and Magneto. On a non-clone, Magneto or Mr. Sinister's turn, prolong all positive effects on self and Magneto by a duration of 1 up to a maximum of 3. And then on War Defense, Mr. Sinister is an ally, 50% chance to assist on non-attack abilities. Now, that could go up to 100% if I put the T4, but that's a long gone T4. There's no point investing in that T4 anymore. This is my lineup. Juggernaut here on the end, Strife here. Mystique here, I may swap Mystique and Mr. Sinister. Mystique's still kind of squishy, or I may take these 2 tanks and swap them. So Strife's here on the outside because he taunts early on, and then Juggernaut next to him. And Juggernaut will be able to do some damage with his ultimate because 6 red stars on him. He's got some nice damage on him. But yeah, this is not a damage heavy team, but this is very like a strong, sustainable team, and that's why I've got them here on defense. Next up, I've got Fantastic Four with She-Hulk. Nothing really to say here, and I really don't even bother with I put Skirmisher on them a long time ago because there's a lot of assists going around. I put Striker on She-Hulk because her passive allows her to constantly do damage with it every 5 times that Fantastic Four take damage. She'll pop off her passive and do some damage. So I've got Striker on her for that, and Healer on Invisible Woman just for some healing. But again, this is very much a weaker defense team now. They're countered by a lot, but I'm using Namor with other teams, so I'm still kind of... If I do find a spot for Namor again on offense with Fantastic Four, I may pull them back onto offense, but I think just right now they just fill in a spot for me on defense. And yeah, that's kind of what's important is... And this is something I should have mentioned earlier, is that right now, offense is more important than defense in war because it's a race. So put your weaker teams on defense. Like, if you have strong ones that can stall on defense, put them there. But you want most of your strong teams on offense. You guys will see that when we go through my offensive teams. But yeah, I'm just trying to build some stuff here that just takes up space, because now, especially with that room expansion, I've got to really stretch my roster right now and figure out some teams to put here. And maybe I change this one up in the future, but right now I think this one's just going to stick as how it is. Not really going to worry about upgrading this one much. And then Sinister Six. This team has really fallen off. I'm surprised. This used to be especially when Doc first came out, this team was nasty on offense, but now we've gotten like Shadowland destroys this team. Shadowland destroys everything, and if you're not using Shadowland on offense, you are doing a bad job at war. We'll talk about Shadowland tomorrow in the next video. Not tomorrow, maybe not tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, Sinister Six. Like, I mean, obviously you want a strong Doc. Like, the stronger your Doc is, the better off this team's gonna be because of his healer ISO, and I use him in Dark Dimension anyway, so I'm gonna build him up. I'm probably going to take him up to Dark Dimension 5 for Legendary. I do have a strong Electro here. I took her up to 14, put Striker on her. I did pull 5 red stars on her. She deals some solid damage, especially as you build up the charge on her. Her passive can go off. She gets piercing damage and everything. That passive can do some damage, but the rest of the team is just weak, and I'm not really going to worry about building them up past tier 12. I mean, 6 red on Goblin, which was nice. And at the time, they were great on offense. They could be used to counter Black Order, but now I've got them back on defense. I can see people putting them on offense, but I need a strong defensive team, sustainability, the blocking, and the deflect. If you can't put heal block on Doc, he becomes very annoying, especially at this, and this is why I've got them here on defense. You need to find a reliable way of placing ability block and or heal block on him, because if you don't put that heal block on him, he drops low on health. Or actually, no, he clears heal block, so you need ability block more than anything. If you can't put ability block on him and he drops low on health, then he goes off, and it's not a good time. But for the most part, Sinister Six has really fallen off in power. Not going to worry about that one too much. Now, next up is going to be Wave 1 Avengers. And this used to have Black Widow, but now it's Skeletal God's rework, and it's become much more powerful. And since I'm splitting up Asgardians, we'll talk about where I'm putting some of the other Asgardians in my War Offense video. Figure, you know what? Why not? Let's put Sif with Wave 1 Avengers. We now have 3 tanks on the team. Hulk, Cap, and Sif. And all 3 of them, they do pretty well. I mean, they've got some war bonuses. Sif's got some handy war defense bonuses. Then I've got Thor over here on the far side. So you've got 3 tanks here that you've got to go through. And every time you hit one of these 3, that puts a stack of charge on Thor. That's why I've got Striker on him. Skirmisher on Hawkeye for that bonus focus. His Dispel, the blinds, all of that, his unavoidable attacks are very good. But yeah, these 3 right here are pretty solid tanks, especially Hulk. Like, if you ignore Hulk and go for Cap, Hulk starts getting speed bar. If you drop Hulk low on health, he gains offense up and death proof and speed bar. And Sif blocks everything. Like, Sif blocks so much, but she's also off. The Asgardian team, so her block chance is not as high. But I've got Fortify on her just because. Healer on Cap and Hulk because they gain plenty of healing abilities. And then Striker on Thor for that passive. Not much more to say about this. I really like this lineup. I don't want Thor next to Sif because I don't want splash damage on Thor. I want Thor far away so he can go off on his passive, and you have to keep focusing on these 3 tanks here. Now I may put Healer back on Sif too, just because her passive does give her bonus healing on her turns. So maybe I do put Healer on her here instead of Fortifier, but this is not a team I'm too worried about either. This is number 5 on my defense teams. But I'm not too worried about... I'm really not worried about upgrading this one much anymore because Wave 1 Avengers has really kind of fallen off, especially since they're such a T4 heavy team. You gotta have a lot of T4s on them to be effective. I never invested those T4s on them. Okay, so next up is going to be Mercs with Ultimus. Now, I am next to security, which means that anyone... Oh my gosh, I just realized Taskmaster's knife is going through... Sword is going through Ultimus's knee. Where were we? Right, so I'm next to security, and that means that the fight starts with defense down the enemy. Now, what I used to do, instead of Ultimus on this team, is I put Kestrel here, and it was fun watching people try to figure out how to defeat this team. If you put Kestrel with this team in security, it forces like a very strong war offense team to beat, and that's because the speed bar boost that you get with Taskmaster and him just going off and assisting all those defense down you have on the enemy. Kestrel's going off and assisting. And if you have a high red Kestrel with these 4 Mercs, it's murder. Like, it's straight murder. It's been fun watching people having to burn like Black Order and really strong offense teams to get through this team when I have Kestrel here instead of Ultimus. Now, I have Kestrel with another defense team now, so I put Ultimus here. I've got Striker on Ultimus because his ultimate does a lot of damage, especially as you start charging it up with all the positive effects that someone can get. The taunts that Taskmaster gives out with him also charges the speed bar on Ultimus. Now, one thing I may change is this Raider ISO here on Taskmaster. I may swap that back to Skirmisher because he does get a lot of assists now, but I also like Raider because he's doing a lot of damage. Like, his first 2 openers attack pretty much the entire team. His ultimate attacks everybody, and then his special is chaining back and forth. So there's a lot of damage potential with that. You give the Raider on him plenty of chances to apply Skirmisher on him. But I'm also not really worried too much about trying to exploit those vulnerables. So that's why I'm not really going for Skirmisher on him. Unless I'm going to blue ISO, then I'd probably put Skirmisher on him for that bonus attack on the assists. But Raider on Killmonger because he has huge crit synergy, very important. And then healer on Merc Lieutenant and Merc Right Guard. Very easy to put healer on both of them. They get a lot of healing. And Merc Right Guard's very annoying to take out with the constant healing from himself and Lieutenant and the deflex that he's giving out. So I feel pretty good about this ISO here. And I feel pretty good about this team. Not as strong as it would be with Kestrel in the team, but I still like this one very much. Now let's talk about this one. You may see it already. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be typing how much they hate me in chat, but I can't believe I pulled those 7 red on Silver Surfer trying to go for Infinity Watch. I was so mad that I didn't pull higher than 4 red on Infinity Watch, but at the same time I couldn't complain too much because I pulled this on Surfer. And look at that power on him, almost 300k power on Silver Surfer here. I mean, rip. So Black Bolt Coulson with Surfer, you got defense down already, but between Black Bolt and Surfer, you're going to do so much damage. Like that ultimate from Surfer goes off. If you take out like Crystal or Yo-Yo or Coulson with this, you give offense up to Surfer, and then his next attack, if it's the ultimate or the special, is going to kill someone. He does so much damage. And then Black Bolt, if you don't kill someone with Surfer, Black Bolt's just going to finish him off anyways. This one I really like. 800k power, not bad. But I just realized, are all my teams in ascending power order? They are not. I thought I had a pattern going on there for a second, but I don't. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about this. I mean, Skirmisher on Yo-Yo for the assist, she, like her basic can apply Skirmisher and then she calls someone to assist, which is fine. But Skirmisher also for the bonus focus. That way she can apply offense down because there's no other protectors here. Healing on Crystal because her passive does heal Inhumans back up if they fall low on health. And then Striker on Black Bolt and Surfer, obviously. I better lock these. We're going to lock those. And then Raider on Coulson because his ultimate does deal damage to everybody, so is his special. He's a strong war defense character anyways. He gives speed up and immunity to shield allies, I believe. So Yo-Yo's protected by that, but Coulson with these guys just makes so much sense. This is an easy one. I mean, there's not much to say here. I like this lineup for the most part, keeping Surfer far away. I may swap this up, but Black Bolt's so beefy, and plus he gets the heal from Crystal. I don't know. But I do like this team overall. There's not much else to say about this. Long live Surfer and Black Bolt, and them just shredding things. Now, next up, this is one that I think is going to be controversial. A lot of people still like Secret Avengers on offense, which they're a very strong offense team, but I also like the power of this, especially since I've got the security room debuff with Kestrel here and Emma. This is why I split up Marauders. Between Sabretooth going to Weapon X and trying out some experimentation, maybe I do a Marauders team in the future where I put everyone back together, but this team right here is just nasty. With that security debuff, the defense down, that's going to force Kestrel to go nuts. The speed reduction with Emma here, minus 10% speed on enemies with her present. And I've got her far away from both Sam and Kestrel because I don't want her taking damage when you're trying to focus down those two characters. So I may even throw her over here and like swap her and Marie up. But you can see I've got a lot of blue ISO on this team. I'm not going to take Emma up to blue ISO just yet. But Secret Avengers, I mean, I use them in Raid. There's not much to say about them, but I did a video on this the other day talking about how you have to have like meta teams to beat them. And like X Factor with Zemo beats them pretty easily, but that means that you're also sacrificing Hydra. I know some people were asking like what Hydra beats. We're working on that video, but like you're having to sacrifice your Hydra team to then bring in Zemo with X Factor to counter this. Shadowland counters it as well. Those are both very, very strong offense teams that you have to use. New Warriors with Silver Surfer, another one that beats them, but again, like you're having to use Silver Surfer, so you're having to use meta teams, very strong characters like Surfer, like Doom, like X Factor plus Zemo, like Shadowland. The powers you have to use to beat this is what drives it nuts. And we had people testing symbiotes against it because they didn't believe me that symbiotes couldn't beat it. No one, like, symbiotes just get wrecked by this. Symbiotes are usually counter Secret Avengers on defense, but with Emma there, plus Kestrel, like, it just doesn't work. So this team I really like on defense. I know a lot of people still like him on offense. I like him on offense too, but I need a team here that worked very well on defense. and I've got plenty of offense anyway, so we're gonna try this. And so far, it's been doing all right. We'll see how it continues to hold in the future. And then we've got Infinity Watch. Now, the only reason I have these guys on defense is because I have Weapon X. And our whole alliance is not putting all their Infinity Watch on defense. We're still saving quite a few Infinity Watch for offense because you're going to use Weapon X to counter Heroes for Hire. If you don't have Weapon X, you shouldn't be putting this team on defense. Do not put this team on defense if you do not have Weapon X. You're only hurting yourself. You still need powerful offense teams, and this can do punches across against Heroes for Hire. Granted, it takes a while and it's dicey, but you gotta have them to counter Heroes for Hire if you don't have Weapon X. You gotta do your part. So only a handful of us are gonna be putting these on defense. We still have plenty of powerful Infinity Watch for offense as well. But in key global rooms, like I'm in Barracks, so those key global rooms like Armory and Barracks and Cargo Bay, we're going to put Infinity Watch on defense, but most players are going to be leaving them on offense. That way we have at least them for mirror matches, because you can do like a good 200k punch up against Infinity Watch with a mirror match, which sucks. But hey, I mean, now with this and with Heroes for Hire on defense, now you're forced to burn, like first to use Weapon X on Heroes for Hire and then Infinity Watch on this. So it's a matter of balance. You don't want to go too heavy on Infinity Watch on defense. You want to save most of them for offense, but in key rooms, throw them on defense. Force the enemy to burn Infinity Watch, especially if they don't have a lot of Weapon X, which most players probably won't have Weapon X. It forces them to burn Infinity Watch on this instead of Heroes for Hire. So it's all going to become a matter of who's got how many Weapon X and how you use them to balance your Infinity Watch teams as well. And then finally, to no one's surprise, Heroes for Hire. Yeah, I went hard on Heroes for Hire. I mean, I don't know what else to say. When people in my line saw this, they were like, McMole, you are a madman. I was like, yeah, probably. Like, 6 red star on 4 of them. Shang-Chi, Misty, Luke Cage, and Colleen. Only 4 or 5 on Iron Fist. And at one point, I thought about throwing the 6 star on Iron Fist, but I realized that's probably a waste. But I have the central lanes in Gamma, so I have to use this team on the Gamma raid. And I am curious to see how they do in the City raid for Alpha. Alpha is about to start back up. I am curious to see how they do in Alpha, but I mean, this is hands down the best defense team we have right now. Now, Weapon X does counter them. We've been doing testing. One guy in my alliance has been trying to do 300k punch-ups against Heroes for Hire, and he said that the team just smokes him. Now, we've got some interesting ISO on this team. I've got Striker on both Misty and Colleen, and the reason is because of the security debuff, the defense down. Once you put that, I've actually been watching it, like when he's using his Weapon X against me, like Misty takes out like a good quarter to a third of Omega Red's health with her ultimate here, and that's just 6 red on her. You put that defense down in as well, and actually I think defense down is going to expire before she can hit him, but you know, Colleen's going to start assisting. She's going to hit the defense down. This team does crazy stuff. Does a lot of damage. I really love this team. It's been fun watching people like cuss me out because of this team. And I've also changed my lineup here. You're gonna see Shang-Chi and Colleen are far apart. That is intentional because it hurts. It makes the Weapon X counter more difficult. And what I mean by that is that the special from Lady Deathstrike, you go off of that special and removes speed bar from any characters that it hits. It hits the primary target and adjacent. If you have Colleen within 2 spaces of Shang-Chi, you go for that central target, both of them get speed bar removed. Just by taking Colleen, throwing her over here next to Luke, just by doing that, it has now prevented speed bar removal on Colleen, because you want to remove speed bar on Shang-Chi, especially if you resist the ability block. But then now you can't get it on both. So one of these characters is still going to go off, or one of these characters is still going to retain their speed bar. And with Colleen's ultimate going off, especially with the defense down, does some crazy damage, man. Or sorry, defense down says speed down, but Yeah, Striker on both Misty and Colleen. Raider on Shang-Chi, because he's going to crit everything. Going to put plenty of critical hit, or plenty of vulnerables out there. And then you just let Misty and Colleen go nuts with their Striker and their ISO attacks and the bonus damage. This team, it's nuts. 1.15 million. I will miss this team being the meta, but I also acknowledge that this team was like the worst thing ever on War Defense until we get a new team that's going to put like a permanent trauma and stun for 2 turns on like the highest health character, and then rip Weapon X at that point, because that's going to be Omega Red. But yeah, that's all 10 of my teams on defense. I'm sure you guys have plenty of comments by now, plenty of criticisms, I'm sure. But let me know down below what you guys think about these. If you guys have questions about these teams, comments, concerns, feel free to drop them down below. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time.